everyone. Welcome to episode 38 of our AI GTM Talk series. My name is Mani Iyer, and thank you for joining us today. As you all know, we've been doing these talks for several weeks now, and we bring on either seasoned AI GTM tech CEOs to talk about uh, where they are focusing, they're building a business, and they're going deep in a specific area. We also bring on revenue leaders, growth leaders to talk about um, how they're transforming their go-to-market, using AI apps, tech, and tools. Now, uh, certainly we will. I want to quickly introduce our speaker for today, Gururaj Pandurangi. He's the CEO of Thrivestack. Guru, welcome to this episode.
Hey, thank you, Mani, and thank you and compliments to you and your team. You guys have been rocking the boat on these kind of live webinars. I've attended a couple of them before. They've
Okay.
been very good and eye opening. So thank you again for inviting me here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know, Guru, you guys are doing some amazing work in a particular area we haven't had a chance to explore in this talk series, which is what I'm looking forward to, with you today. And what also I think we should set the stage a little bit, right? What this episode is about, which is you and I have been talking about this. We are calling it, full life cycle go to market. Because there's a bunch of things we do at Kwanzoo. There's a bunch of things you all do. But I think at the end of the day, customers need the problem solved, and the problem solved. I'm sure we'll get into that, but so that's really where maybe I'll tee it up right now by putting up that one slide that we crafted just to set the stage here. So, folks, for those of you who are watching, what we do at Kwanzoo, and then Guru, I'll hand it over to you, is we essentially have built out what we call a signals hub. And so what it does is we're able to understand buyer behavior at a person level, so not just company level, but person level, both on and off the website. So on the website, we de-anonymize site traffic, US site traffic down to the person. So sales teams now know exactly who to go after. We also do company level resolution, which is pretty standard. A lot of vendors, tech providers do that. Now, off the website, again, you've got your traditional technologies and tools, whether it's ABM tech, ABM platforms. They do company level. You also have intent data vendors do at a company level. And again, we have built a bunch of data provider partnerships in the back end that we're able to tell at a person level who's interested in your product or solution and is in the market right now. So basically, connecting sellers to in-market buyers is the high-level, call it story of what we guys do at Kwanzoo. And so I think, Guru, you and I crafted this where we said Kwanzoo comes into play to essentially find those in-market buyers, drive awareness, so you can do outbound campaigns and messages and so forth. You can then get them to respond and give you signals and indicators that they're, in a consideration stage for your product, your tech, your solution. And we kind of go down the path a little bit. We work with SDR, BDR teams, and also even account execs who are able to figure out who are in-market buyers that they should be engaging with, whether it's white space accounts or even, even existing customers and so forth. So that's kind of where we play. But maybe, Guru, now over to you, because I know at Thrivestack you guys do a lot. So maybe you can talk about where you come into the picture. One thing, as I said, is especially interesting to me is what you are doing around product-led growth as opposed to sales-led growth and sales-led tactics, which has been more where traditionally Kwanzoo has been playing. But over to you, Guru.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe let me preface that with a little bit of what the company does, and I'll tell you about the basis of that. Very early on, we realized that there are these three buckets of companies. It depends on the founders themselves. One is either a sales-led kind of a company where they are saying, hey, we want to go after enterprise customers, or no matter what it is, we will deploy a set of sales teams, and then they go use tools like HubSpot and Salesforce, try to close the deals, pipeline velocity, and all of that. That's one way of doing it. That was the traditional way of doing it in probably much before, in probably 2000s, 2010s, and so on and so forth. very recently we have seen the emergence of really three pieces coming together, and that's what we refer as the hybrid GTM motions, wherein there's definitely a sales team, there's definitely a product-led motion.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can also refer it as a self-serve motion, where the users, not necessarily the buyers, the users will go find value within your product. They come typically by Google searches and whatever it is, they sign up, they experience the value, they like it, they buy it. That's one another kind of emotion. And then there's a third motion, which is a combination of AI plus human plus self-serve. Jaco and this team at Winning by Design, they call it as the AI-led motion. So all of these motions are coming together. What we realize is that when the when the GTM motions are actually merging together, the growth intelligence has not yet caught up. Growth intelligence in the previous stage used to be only for like sales velocity or pipeline velocity, or essentially tracking revenue as you move along. The realization that dawned, with the probably the advent of product-led growth or self-serve motions, pioneered by Zoom and HubSpot and all of them, is that the users are also now in control. And they essentially want to go through the entire journey. What we essentially at Thrivestack, we started building what we refer as growth intelligence platform that covers the journey all the way from when the users want to start experiencing the value. We call that as primarily a consideration stage, all the way till they convert, they activate the product, they convert, either self-led sales-led conversion, doesn't matter, and then the expansion. So the focus of Thrivestack is to bring in all of these signals across the entire journey at an account level and say, hey, this is how the users and accounts are moving across the journey. And these are the diagnostics associated to each of these phases and where the dropouts are happening. And what are the signals that can be used by, typically SaaS companies to bring back the customers? An example would be, let's say somebody's stuck, they've just signed up and they're stuck in activation. We are able to go look at, hey, how many accounts are there, who's stuck, how long have they been stuck, to bring them back. Let's say somebody's usage is dropping off, or a particular cohort. Let's say a cohort in the sense for the audience is, let's say someone in the European region or the SMB business. That, let's say you can build a cohort around that. For them, the usage is dropping off, or they have slowly stopped paying, or there are billing issues. So we are able to go articulate and bring that back, and use that as part of the journey. So that's where Thrivestack essentially, comes in to be able to go look at all the portions where the users and the accounts are moving across your journey and bring back the signals. I'll pause here, and maybe Mani, back to you on that.
Yeah, no, I think I know one of the things you and I have talked about is how we fit in a little bit about, right? I mean, right about that in the sense that when companies are trying to bring in that targeted qualified audience in, or even trying to find them off their site, whether it's on social channels, whether it's across the web, and start to engage them, and then they bring them back. We talked about how there's this whole opportunity for doing an integration and a handoff between our tech, right, where we are able to literally identify who the person is if they've never ever filled out a form. And now you get some valuable information that can be populated into technology like yours, and you can kick off all kinds of nurture flows and nurture campaigns and try to bring them back and try to get them to engage for a PLG, product-led growth motion.
Yeah, so I think what I'm finding interesting about what you guys do, Money, and to the audience, and how the potential integration can happen, is let's paint the picture of a journey. Let's
Mhm.
say a user is coming, a user or buyer at this moment. Let's not differentiate between them yet. Let's say they're coming, they look at a particular ad. Most people that we talk to, most SaaS founders that we talk to, almost 80% of their traffic, especially in the early stages, are really coming in from ads. It's not organic.
Mhm.
It's essentially coming through ads, or some comments here and there, some social posts. Essentially, it's been promoted to bring the traffic back to you. uh, you know what what's interesting is, most people worry about the attribution of it, and we'll talk about that a little later, from where the
Mhm.
traffic came in, how the traffic came in. But let's say the traffic now comes to your website. uh, you know what do you call that? Is that an awareness stage? Typically, the awareness has already happened outside of your website. And more companies, more and more buyers are getting aware of the product, not by doing a Google search and coming to your website, but they are getting aware using, let's say, a chat GPT or a perplexity session. So they're asking the queries and answers are coming out from there. So the baseline awareness is already happening outside of your website.
Right.
If you consider the website to be a consideration stage where the prospect is now trying to understand whether the solution that they see right now in front of their screen, in front of their eyes, is that going to solve their problem,
Right.
right? And for lack of better words, I'm calling that as a consideration step.
Mhm.
That's where you need, because there's an active traffic that's already coming to your website.
Mhm.
uh, how it came, it doesn't matter for a moment. We can go figure that out. Let's say, for example, yeah, they can be contest that, hey, if there was a newsletter, we already know who that email ID is who came to your website. I mean, leave that aside for a moment. Let's say they have come to your website. It is very important to understand at that time, on who that person is, what have they browsed, and have they even looked at a couple of these high profile, high intent pages.
Correct.
Pricing is typically an example of it, and so on and so forth. And you guys do an amazing job at, I think, remind me about the stats about US. If the
Correct.
process is in the US,
Yes.
and you have a high chance, greater than 60-70% of the chance, to do visitor de-anonymization and
Correct.
identification of,
So what,
right?
let me add to that. Yeah, basically for the person level visitor identification for the US, it's 5 to 40% is what we've seen, depending on the target audience
Mhm.
and the kind of B2B business. We also do B2B to C. And then once you de-anonymize, we also have the complete buyer journey. So that's valuable information for downstream apps and tools to kind of do some further analysis and decide how to action that, right? So we also have
Yeah,
outbound motions that can kick off. But what's exciting about this session with you is about the PLG motion that can kick off,
correct,
right? That's
correct,
really
correct.
what
Yeah.
we wanted to bring up. So one of the things, Guru, maybe this might be a good time to, while folks is still, hopefully they've got we've set the stage here. Uh, can you talk about what are the segments that you're serving in terms of your Thrivestack technology, your platform? What are the personas? Who are the kind of buyers? If you can talk about that, and then if you can get in and maybe give them a look at the product, maybe give a quick demo if you don't mind for a few
We'll do
minutes.
that. Yeah. So let's talk about that. So we are a growth intelligence platform.
Right.
Typically, this is needed for someone who's starting to grow.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is, you would not need a platform like this if you don't have any revenue at all, if you don't have any customers at all, right?
Right.
Yes, we have a lot of customers who are paying us even at that particular stage, but that's not our typical ideal customer profile, if you will. So they are using us to go build, growth intelligence into their product, in the quest that when they launch, they don't have to necessarily go all of that, right? But our typical ICPs are really early stage SaaS companies, somewhere between about 100K to 2 to 3 million ARR,
Got
and
it.
they are starting to see, self-serve motions picking up. They are closing, and they find issues like, the reason that they come and talk to us is they find issues that, hey, we are starting to get signups, but they're not converting. Could you tell us
Okay.
why? They come to us saying, hey, we are seeing a lot of traffic coming to our website, but nobody's actually signing up. And if they sign up, they drop off. Why? Or if they have activated, meaning that they have set up everything, but they are still not paying us. Why?
Mm-hmm.
So they are coming to us to answer the question why, rather than, essentially in the old world, it's a click
Yeah.
tracking. Hey, they clicked on this, and there's a vanity metric. The number of website visits went up, and
Got it.
hooray, we celebrate. So the early stage SaaS companies who essentially we close much faster are having active problems in the path to conversion. So
Got it.
their acquisition revenue is at stake, and they are primarily focused on that. So
Got it.
that's segment one for us.
Got
The
it.
segment
And what
two.
about, sorry, I was going to ask about any of the newer generation AI companies, AI apps, AI tech, AI tools. Do you draw a distinction between them, or are they kind of interchangeable for you?
We get a lot of, we almost get about 70 to 80% of the prospects who even sign up. They don't even talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then later when they struggle, they will talk to us, or when they want discounts, they will talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
Or they want to have a larger demo, especially if they're a slightly larger company,
Mm-hmm.
they will talk to us. This is what we see. Almost 70% of them are AI companies.
Mm-hmm.
All of them have a self-serve motion, meaning, you know, um, things like you go to vibe coding apps like Bolt and Cursor and all of them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
nobody really talks to the sales guys.
Yeah.
They really go ahead and start the sign up process and start playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, text to audio, legal AI,
Mm-hmm.
insurance AI, fintech AI. There are many of them, who are our customers on that particular segment.
Got it.
But that's exactly AI and PLG
Got
uh,
it.
are necessarily tied together.
Got it.
AI gives, if you have to have a conversation with a sales guy and ask them to do a demo, it's already a lost game. By that time it's too late. People want to experience how this will actually help them to even consider whether they should even use the product or not.
Got
And
it.
that's where
Um,
PLG really merge together.
right. And what would you like to show us in terms of your product? I mean, you said you have, is there some kind of
Yeah,
demo capability you're able to present? Okay.
I can well quickly. I'll go find how to
Yeah,
share my screen.
sure. I think the screen share you will need to do for the specific tab,
Correct. Yeah.
on your in
Hopefully.
the app.
Okay. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, yeah, we can see the bow tie. Yeah.
Yeah. So typically, companies, by the way, you can experience this yourself today, and I can give the link. There's a demo mode equal to true, which means you don't have to sign up, and you can actually experience all of this. So now you can imagine that you have coming into your product, or you have your sales guys asking the operations team to go create accounts. So you have a set of accounts, and these accounts are within your product, right?
Hmm.
And the way that we operate is, we bring in the data from your marketing, from your
Hmm.
product, from revenue, and from CRM all together. We unify that. We correlate it. And here's an example of it. So we'll give you a list of accounts that are either in trial or using your product, one way or the other. And for each of these accounts, let me go ahead and show that to you. We help you understand where they are. So we'll give you various filters like, hey, what's the firmographics of it? Are they an active account or not? What's the domain? Are they deleted? Is active waiting? What's the pricing plan? We'll automatically do an enrichment after they have signed up. I think Money and your team, you work before they have signed up. We work after they
Correct.
have signed up. When they have
Yeah.
signed up, we automatically know who they are and what they have done before they have signed up, right? So we
Yeah.
do the de-anonymization at the time of the sign up. So we know their industry, the legal name, the sector, what their revenue looks like.
Hmm.
We automatically understand the acquisition path. What I mean by that is, how did they actually come into your product, right?
Hmm.
Which campaigns, which medium, which source. So, and this is what we call as the multi-step, attribution. We
Okay.
automatically also understand whether they are an abuse. Abuse essentially means that they have a fake email ID, a temporary inbox, and all of that.
Right.
We automatically classify, are they an ICP fit for you or not, right?
Hmm.
We go into the next phase, and now we can imagine this is the entire bow tie. We go to the next stage where we'll say, hey, are they activated?
Yeah.
And if they are not activated, how long have they taken, for the activation? What percentage of these journeys they have completed. What are they currently stuck at? What's their current milestone? And
Got
who's
it.
actually working on it? We also look at the ARR range. There's a whole bunch of filters around even engagement. For example, we look at
Mm,
whether they're actively engaging your product or not. Are they
mm,
healthy? Are they starting to grow, or they are critical, at risk, or dormant, where
mm,
their engagement has dropped below a certain point in time? Right? We
mhm.
look at expansion, contraction signals, again, coming in both from the revenue standpoint. We look at
Yeah.
retention signals based on all of that. And ultimately, we'll give you, something like this, where we'll show
Mhm,
you that, hey, all of these are the on the left-hand side on the screen. This is the firmographics of the account. You can assign that to your CSM and a sales rep. And typically, these are early stage SaaS companies who want to do the assignment within our product. If they're a larger company, they will do that in Salesforce or HubSpot. But we
mhm,
give them signals like these, saying that, hey, within this particular account, let's say this account is Slack, you have about 10 users. The first user is actually not using your product as much, but the second user is being actively using, in this case Sarah. Her
mhm.
activity 122 in the last 14 days. And when you look at that, we look at the entire set of things that they have done within your product. We do the
Got it.
same thing at the user level, at the account level.
Yeah.
We also, look at their activation journeys, where they currently are stuck, right? Which phases have they completed where they are stuck? Are they paying customer to you or not? We essentially look at all the subscriptions,
Mhm,
all the billing payments associated to it. Engagement you already saw. Retention is we automatically give them a score, based on the health of this. So typically the last two parts, retention and expansion is used by CSM and sales teams, to
mhm.
retain the customer, to expand the customer. Engagement is typically used by product management and a CSM to see, hey, they've already signed up, they're already using the product, are they using it in a healthy way, or do we have a churn risk or not? And of course, we
Got it.
bring all of them together, right? On the left-hand pane, we show that, hey, these are the at-risk customers. This is the
Mhm,
journey that they have done, the revenue dashboards, the MRR movements, the journeys within the product, the journey before the product, which is marketing, right? We look at channel performance dashboard. For example, this is something that marketing team uses. Remember, what I'm trying to show you might feel a lot of them, but in a sense, the marketing team is looking at, hey, I've sent the traffic through this particular channel, and has it essentially paid off? So we look at,
mhm,
hey, this is the channel that came in, this is how much you spent. Let's say on ads you spent about 12.5K. How much money you actually got from that? What's the revenue that was generated? And
mhm,
we show that, hey, from this you have actually closed so many accounts. And how
mhm.
do we know that? We got to know that because we have a pixel on the marketing website, and how they essentially came in for the very first time, and that can be 3 months or 4 months, even before, even prior to the conversion. So
Got
I'll
it.
pause here. So this is how
Yeah.
we essentially make everything together.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I think what will be interesting now is if you don't mind, just yeah, you can stop sharing your screen. I want to get to more of a discussion. Um, what is happening? If you can take a step back, help us understand your category of tech product solutions.
Yeah.
Um, who are people looking at in this broader category, and what are some of the key considerations for customers as they're trying to buy solutions?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we have essentially three segments. The first segment is, less than 3 million ARR. Typically, we
Right.
classify them as ARR, sorry,
Hmm.
early stage, SaaS companies. Their primary goal is to get more logos,
Right.
uh, and the secondary goal is to actually be able to go convert. So they are
Yeah.
after the acquisition revenue problem,
Hmm.
and they're trying to find out, why am I not growing fast in
Hmm.
terms of acquisition? So they
Got
use
it.
our product to be able to go, look at the entire journey, and, hey, this is where we are struggling, and we got to make those fixes.
Got it.
The second set of category that we have is anyone more than maybe 3 to 5 million ARR. For them,
Hmm.
acquisition pipeline is about, let's say, 20 to 40 percent year-on-year growth. So they may not be
Hmm.
that concerned about it, on the acquisition side, but because they have a large at-risk set of customers,
Hmm.
I'll take an example. Let's say it is about 10 to 15 million ARR company.
Hmm.
Their new revenue coming in from acquisition is probably 3 to 4 million ARR.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But their residual revenue with the existing customers, they want to retain them,
Yeah.
they want to renew them, and they want to expand. That's
Yeah.
where they are actually getting 80%, or more
Mm.
sometimes,
Got it.
based on their growth. So there are these companies who are like, hey, we have a fast churn,
Mm.
and we don't know why we have a fast churn. Can you identify it, and can you automate and help us automate, essentially run the playbooks to get them back, re-engage them, and so on and so forth. So
Got it.
retention, expansion, contraction becomes, a core, core problem for anyone after 5 million, ARR.
Got
That's
it.
what we are.
And so sounds like you're still primarily in the SMB segment. Who are kind of similar tech and tools maybe selling to the mid market or the enterprise? Are there
Yeah,
companies
so
that?
we are not going after the enterprise segment yet,
Mhm.
because it's going to take us a long time to go win a 100K 200K deal or
Sure.
more than.
No, no, got it. Yeah.
Right now we are going after somewhere between 10 to 40K ARR kind of a deal, right?
Got it.
Uh, Maybe taking a step back, who might be our competition to us?
Hmm.
Uh, Today there are all these individual siloed tools. For example, marketing would use marketing analytics. They would go and
Hmm.
buy their own.
Right.
Product teams will use product analytics. They won't get
Hmm.
anything at the account level. They only get, here's at the product level, here's the baseline users, this is where they're stuck, and all of that,
Hmm.
but nothing at the account level.
Got it.
Revenue teams will use subscription management tools like even, Stripe analytics, Bear metrics, Chartmobile,
Hmm.
but they won't the product engagement.
Okay.
Right? Customer success teams will only focus on retention analytics, but they won't understand
Yeah.
anything else, right?
Hmm.
So we are essentially competing with these individual silos, with
Yeah.
the approach that you don't need any silos anymore, because growth is not, constrained at a silo anymore. It is all
Hmm.
together, right? So,
Got it.
which is where we are essentially unifying all of these, all of these together, all of these signals coming
Got it.
together.
And what are the typical integrations that you find customers tend to use, or what's critical as you go into these 1 to 5, 10, 15 million ARR type of companies?
Yeah.
What are you
So
finding in terms?
less than 5 million. That's a great question. Less than 5 million,
Hmm.
ARR companies. This is their typical step, tech stack. They will have some
Yeah.
marketing website, could be Framer, Webflow. So they need us to integrate with that.
Hmm.
They would have a SaaS application which might be different than the marketing website.
Hmm.
So they integrate that, and that's the typical product analytics part of it, right?
Yeah.
Get all the SaaS events, the telemetry, the sign up event, the trial events, the
Hmm.
onboarding event, the feature usage, and all of that. They might use, less than 5 million ARR if they are a product led, growth company or self-serve motion. Their primary billing or payment gateways would be Stripe or ChargeBee, or Paddle. So we get a lot of requests on. Right now, we support Stripe. We are adding ChargeBee, and we are slowly adding Paddle. In the next couple of months.
Hmm.
So that will be the integration. That, hey, we've solved the marketing, we've connected with the product. Please also connect with the revenue.
Hmm.
That's typically the case for less than 5 million company most of the time. If they have a
Hmm.
customer success team, they might use Gainsight or, Visily or Churn Zero or something of that sort. And,
Hmm.
less than 5 million ARR companies, our tool essentially replaces, the need for having so many, right? So you don't need to use Hockey Stack. You don't need
Hmm.
to use Amplitude or Bear Metrics or Churn Zero. So the typical motions that we get, is that, hey, we are using 4 different tools, but our insights are all siloed. Can you help us
Hmm.
bring all together? So in after 3 months or 4 months of Thrivestack's deployment, most of the times they will essentially start slowing down or canceling other subscriptions.
Got it.
Very recently we've had Amplitude subscription being canceled. At another customer we had Churn Zero subscription canceled. Like, hey, customer success team are actually use something like this.
Yeah.
That's the typical one before 5 million. After
Hmm.
5 million, it gets extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Because the sales guys want to use Salesforce or HubSpot or their own,
Right.
they don't want to go to any other tooling like ours. So we
Hmm.
had to send signals over to Salesforce. So we
Yep.
had to do a bi-directional integration with Salesforce and HubSpot. meaning
Right.
we take customers and contacts from there, and from the product and the revenue, whatever signals that we get, we push that back into Salesforce.
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
we get we have a few customers in the pipeline. There are about 150 to 200 million ARR companies. They use net zero for the billing provider. They use
Mm.
Salesforce. We have all these different as we start to grow and scale, we will have to go build a lot more integrations towards this.
Yep. Yep. No, completely agree
That's
because
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna basically add to what you said that we have had a similar journey ourselves, right? Last
Hmm.
year we were selling more into the SMB,
Right.
customer base, and now this year has been increasingly going into the mid market. And mid market, suddenly you go into a company, they got 40, 50 different tech and
Yeah.
tools, and they're trying to figure out how to modernize their GTM tech stack, because of AI, AI apps and tech and
Yeah,
tools.
we are still learning to say no to these customers.
Okay.
Although because the value proposition becomes so compelling. For
Yeah.
example, at about 6 to 8 million ARR companies, we are getting a lot of these demo requests from them,
Mm,
not from the founders, but
mm,
from their customer success teams. With,
mm,
hey, I see someone's talking about you, that you can actually stop churn before it happens,
mm,
and we have a big churn problem. So we are getting more beyond 5 million ARR companies, typically from customer success teams. Like, hey, we
mm.
use tools, but we only get the visibility into the number of tickets.
Yeah.
And that's not a good enough indicator. We also want to get visibility into product
Right.
engagement. How much
Yeah.
are they paying? And it's cumbersome for us to go to 5 different tools and bring in the signals. And which
Yeah.
is why
Yeah.
we have to go build our own data warehouse and all of that. And say, okay, stop all of that.
Yeah.
We can do all this.
Got it. It's interesting you brought that up because, right, we recently signed a 500 million ARR company, and so they're completely rethinking their entire stack,
Yeah.
right? So they're actually starting to phase out, similar to what you said, their ABM tech tools. So they don't want to use them anymore because those are company level signals, not interesting, not useful enough.
Correct.
So they're deploying our Signals Hub, and the Signals Hub connects into a CDP. So they've in fact
Yeah.
just about to roll out a CDP. So
Okay.
CDP functions, as you said, more like a data lake, data warehouse, and then all data is coming in there. You've got your
Yeah.
static, firmographic, and technographic data. You got your contact data, all the prospect intent, intelligence, and signal data, and then I think your PLG data would be super interesting, I'm sure, for many of these customers. So that's why I was kind of curious about in the mid market, um, any specific companies that you know of that are more in the PLG space. I mean, I've heard of, for example, Inflection. Are they more SMB or mid market, or where do they play?
Inflection IO, the uh,
Yeah.
no, they go after mid market and above, and they
All
themselves are
right.
not very PLG, right? So I think for your audience, the typical way to think about a PLG company is if you go visit their website,
Yeah.
uh, can you, without talking to them or putting in a form, putting in a contact, filling in a contact details, are you able to do the following 2 or 3 things? The first one is, can you experience the product,
Yeah.
as an end user without
Right.
talking to anyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can you sign up to it, or can you do like an interactive demo with all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Even interactive demo is not self-serve motions, right? Typically, when you do an interactive demo, at the end of it, you will ask them to fill a form, right?
Right. Right.
That doesn't give anything. The second way to find out is it pricing transparent,
Mm.
right? Or do you have to talk to someone to even get pricing?
Yeah.
So many of these companies, if they don't fall into, especially commit to these 2 things, that they have
Yeah.
transparent pricing and they have a self-serve product that
Mm.
end users can actually experience, they're not necessarily a PLG company, which
Got it.
essentially means they would be constrained in
Mm.
terms of growth. So they will have to go deploy more and more sales team
Yeah.
to go get more and more customers.
Yeah.
They will also
Yeah.
be
So,
constrained, in terms of their, they can't reach the entire audience who's hungry for a product like theirs,
mm.
because audience cannot essentially lap it up.
Got it. Yeah. So certainly, if you go to the Kwanzoo website, you'll see, we've tried to be transparent on pricing, and we have a little bit of a blend. Actually, we have a free trial, a 14-day
Yeah,
free POC that's kind of more PLG-ish. Probably
yeah,
not PLG enough the way you might be looking at it, but there's kind of a lightweight PLG motion there for us. But then as we go more into the mid market, we found it has to be sales led because especially as you said, it gets to the 50 to 100K
yeah.
ACV,
I think
having a
I think
sales
a
conversation.
PLG is a misnomer, in the sense that I have not met even a single company who only has a self-serve motion.
Correct.
Right, so if we ask them, hey, are you what's the percentage of deals that you close from self-serve, most of
Mm,
them will say we get our pipeline from self-serve. We don't
right.
necessarily close anything
Yeah.
more than 10K a year deals from self-serve motion. We will have to
Right.
deploy a sales guy. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
just a PLG motion may not necessarily be good enough. You might need a sales assist motion and a product-led upsell kind of a motion all coming together.
Right. Mm, got it. So I think then let me bring up the next question, which is let's talk about your own GTM, right? I mean, we've got another 5, 7 minutes here. Um, Maybe you can tell the audience what are you doing for your go to market. I know that one of the things I found very interesting, you mentioned two things that I found interesting. One was you've had this newsletter based approach to kind of engage and bring people back and so on. That was interesting. Another, I think you also talked about influencer based. So
Yeah,
and maybe those, if
yeah,
you can cover those for sure, and anything else you want to touch on.
yeah. I think those are good ones. So we started with the newsletter. We essentially content around growth intelligence, what's broken, right? And over time, we started adding, podcasts. We've talked to so many SaaS founders now. We essentially started taking their sound bites and putting that as part of the newsletter. And over time, we started stitching the dots between, hey, here's the problem, and here's how you can solve it. And our newsletters, are now reaching about closer to 320,000, contacts,
Oh, wow.
and we almost do about 1 million plus emails a month. Uh,
Amazing. Yeah, so hold on, million plus emails a month. Amazing. So 320 in your newsletter list.
320K in the newsletter list.
Got
And
it.
that was, we built that, through some ABM list. And
Mm,
we started looking at, who might be the potential buyers. We started building a master contact list, and we started adding more and more personas that we really care for. And then, we made it saying that, hey, if you want to go forward it to somebody else, please forward it. And when they
got it.
forwarded it, we started collecting who they have forwarded it to, and we
Oh,
started
wow.
automatically adding them into it. So
And you have
yeah,
written about this. You have an article, I believe,
we have an
posted
article
somewhere.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
have an article
Maybe after
posted.
this episode, you can reply to this video recording and on LinkedIn. Maybe let people know where the article is. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll give you the link. I'll give you the demo link, the article as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that motion is what we refer as an awareness campaign.
Okay.
The newsletter is an awareness campaign where we are essentially saying this is the problem, how you can solve it, and we
Yep.
do that at least 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So almost about 300,000 plus contacts times 4 times a week. So somewhere between 1 million to 1.2 million emails that go reach out to them. Right? From that, we get almost 35% open rate every single time.
Oh, wow.
Anyone who's opened any of the newsletter, we put them into a drip campaign. So we have a drip campaign of about closer to 8 steps, where we
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, you've seen this, if this is the problem, this is how you can solve it, and then
Mm-hmm.
either talk to us or sign up. And we run this
Mm-hmm.
drip campaign for 8 weeks. So now you can imagine a cold contact received a cold newsletter for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and then if they opened it, they will automatically get put into the nurture campaign,
Okay.
which goes a little beyond the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a drip campaign towards that. And for pretty much every one in the drip, we have sign up to the product and talk to us as key
Mm-hmm.
links there.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and we get almost 85 to 90% open rate from that.
Oh wow.
So which means that these audiences really want to solve that. And after the fourth step or the fifth step, we ask them, hey, by the way, here's our pricing plan. And you can do it yourself, or you can talk to us and we can help you walk them through.
Hmm.
And through that, essentially every month we get more than 60,000 plus visits to the website,
Okay.
just from that particular campaign, and to the
Hmm.
pricing page somewhere between 6K to 10K a month, just the pricing plan itself. And
Hmm.
we know that, and after that we run a little bit of outbound, which we are right now very frail. So that's an example of the cold newsletter
Hmm.
dripping into a warm newsletter, and
Hmm.
then a little bit of outbound towards that. And we have a slightly older article on how we do it.
Hmm.
That I can send that to you.
Amazing.
Just about 2 months back, and let me talk to them about the influencers. Back, we started learning, of these growth advisors, growth consultants all across the world, and these are
Yeah.
accelerators, these are influencers, these are actually hands-on people who are implementing growth
Hmm.
intelligence, revenue intelligence, or revops, for
Hmm.
various companies. So a few
Yep.
of them started reaching out to us and say, hey, we are doing this for a living, and what you guys have, which is the correlated intelligence coming together,
Yeah.
getting to this itself takes closer to 3 to 6 months for us for any new customer. And you
Hmm.
guys can actually solve that in pretty much less than a week's time. So can we implement this for one of our customers, and can you
Hmm.
give us a free trial? That's how the conversation started. And we said,
Yeah.
absolutely, go ahead and implement it. And then we started winning deals from them. So
Amazing.
they are now automatically, instead of they deploying amplitude or mixed panel, bare metrics, and this and that, they're essentially
Hmm.
saying that, hey, get rid of all of that, just use
Hmm.
Thrivestack and be able to go do all of that.
Hmm.
Uh, we recently started, shaking hands with Andrew Kaplan, who's a growth advisor from
Hmm.
Delivering, Value company,
Hmm.
and Wes Bush from the productled.com. And so they have a product-led implementation team who
Got
does
it.
this for a living. So they go to customers and say, hey, I'm going to go solve your acquisition,
Hmm.
accelerate your free to pay trials,
Hmm.
get them to engage, and get them to convert, and get them to be upsold to various
Yeah.
things. And right now they're implementing about 7+ tools to make that happen. We will
Hmm.
potentially replace about 5 of them, and we are
Okay.
going through some pilots with about 4 or 5 of their customers at this moment. So
Amazing.
that's essentially starting an engine which we never thought
Yeah.
was possible, where instead of we doing the implementation or educating the customer,
Hmm.
or the influencers, the growth consultants will actually do all of that work for us. So that's a home run,
Yeah.
that I have not imagined that yet.
Yeah. No, it's interesting you say that because about 3, 4 months ago, we kicked off a white label sales motion for us for in terms of our Signals hub. So now,
Yeah,
we've been, trying to have discussions, conversations with agencies. So these are,
yeah,
marketing agencies, media agencies, demand gen growth agencies that are trying to, they have their existing customers, mid-market, large enterprise customers, and then they want to offer newer AI, GTM, modern solutions. And so now they are able to take our tech and then it's a white label offering that they're able to bundle in, and then,
yeah,
price it however they want.
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, that the whole world is changing. I mean, so in fact, I know that there's a guy I know who's completely um, his thesis is that a lot of traditional marketing agencies will have to kind of transform to be AI GTM agencies. Otherwise, they're going to have a
Correct.
hard time in the coming weeks
Correct.
and months.
I think the playbook that somebody wrote almost about 5 to 10 years back, that hey, don't go to the influencers or partners
Hmm.
before you get to $1 million of revenue. That's
Hmm.
false, right?
Yeah.
If your product is actually helping, their needs, they can accelerate their advisory, their consulting. They will actually lap it up.
Yeah,
You just
and
have to.
obviously it has to work. The product has to work. You have to have some early proof, and it has. But you're right. I mean,
Correct.
you don't want to wait too long. You got to get out there
You
because
don't need
the
a
market's
proof to
changing
get to
fast.
$1
And
million of the revenue and then add a new
right.
GTM motion towards that. If the proof is working,
Yeah.
There are people talking about it. For example, we know for sure that if you ask ChatGPT on what's the growth intelligence platform today,
Right.
that best connects all of them, it gives Thrivestack,
Right.
and Reddit has it,
Yeah.
right? And some people who we have talked to, they are writing about it. So that's why this motion will work well.
Right.
I think that's fake news to say that don't go to partners
Yeah. Yeah.
only
Yeah.
on $1 million of revenue.
So we're coming up on time. I want to do one last question, which is how do you see this whole space evolving next 6, 12, 24 months? Just looking ahead to the kind of tech you build. What do you see happening?
Yeah, I think well, we are at the end of the day, we are a data analytics company, right?
Okay.
It's just that the data that we analyze is about growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've had almost 40 to 50 plus conversations till now with various SaaS founders that they don't want to have additional dashboard. For example, I just showed you an example of an at-risk set of
Okay.
customers.
Mm-hmm.
We have left menu pane. You click on that, you get a list of at-risk customers from various signals.
Yeah. People want to
The
type in a
trends that we are
prompt
starting to
or
see
yeah.
is, so we have almost about 30-40% of them asking us, can you give us a cloud MCP integration where we can ask,
Okay.
where we can get answers, and we can talk to our own growth data without actually
Yeah.
visiting your product. Okay? So that's
Right.
an example of where the attention span of people coming to a new dashboard or new product
Yeah.
is essentially getting over. They want to use the familiar tools to ask that. That's
Very
trend
good.
number one. Trend number two that we've seen is especially for the RevOps folks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether your audience has any RevOps folks listening as well. We've
Right.
seen a trend where the RevOps team essentially stands up our own data warehouse, starts articulating which of these signals are, and then start writing playbooks towards that,
Yeah.
to re-engage the customer or
Got it.
to get them to reactivate it, or to recover any billing issues. All of these are
Yeah.
essential playbooks.
Right.
The biggest thing that these guys miss are the signals. They get the data, but they don't get
Yeah.
the signals.
Got it.
So
So
the automation playbook, is a second trend where everything needs to be orchestrated over time. I'll
yes.
pause. Back to you.
So I'm gonna bring up our final slide. How can people get in touch with you? I think I have your emails and LinkedIn. Does this sound right? How do you want people to reach out
Yeah,
to you?
yeah. So typically emails get flooded a lot. I get a lot of spam. So I would request, to use my LinkedIn profile
Okay.
and send either direct message or just drop a note to me on email, if there is of something of urgent. But these are
Got it.
the definitely the links that
Got it. All right. Thank you, Guru. Great session. So that concludes, folks, episode 38 of AI GTM Talks. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.